I want to talk with you today about one of the more complicated and misunderstood topics in the world of audio, and also one of the more overthought topics, and that is what makes a great speaker, or maybe more importantly, how do I choose the perfect speaker for me? And I say overthought because in the end of the day, a speaker is a transducer. It is converting electrical energy sent from your amplifier or receiver into mechanical energy, which is the motion of the driver that creates sound. That process is never perfect. And since it's not perfect, you're going to want to listen and evaluate for yourself. Is the speaker delivering the content in the way that you are used to emotionally experiencing it? Is it actually emotionally connecting you with the content? Because if it's doing that, it may well be that that's the perfect speaker for you. As I said, it's a complicated and misunderstood process, and I think a great way to get familiar with how to choose the right speaker is to understand how speakers are designed. The speakers have three, I would say, primary phases of design. The first phase is the purely theoretical phase, where we use computer-aided, or I should say the best companies use computer-aided design and very sophisticated theoretical design processes in order to optimize cabinet design, driver design, crossover design, so that the speaker is a perfect symphony of all those components delivering the final output. The second phase is to optimize the speaker in, and this is not done by everyone, but is done by the more responsible speaker manufacturers, optimize the speaker in a theoretical setting, which is an anechoic chamber. An anechoic chamber is a room where all sonic reflections are eliminated, and the speaker can be measured in an almost perfect environment where only the sound that the speaker itself is making is measured. Before I describe the third phase, which is the measurement and listening phase in a real-world environment, we probably should talk about what we look for, what SVS looks for in creating our speakers, what we think a great speaker should do. And I think I would probably put this in a couple of realms. It needs to do it in the realm of measurable or listenable accuracy or faithfulness to the content, sort of an objective thing, even though sometimes we're experiencing it subjectively using our ears or using measuring devices, which is obviously more objective. Then the other way that the speaker needs to do this is in the emotional realm. Is the speaker emotionally connecting you to the music or the content? And one of my sort of oversimplifications of this is speakers have a limited number of ways to do this. You have driver, different kinds. That's a tweeter. This is a mid-range driver. This is a crossover right here. Limited number of ways to do this. It's almost like, and forgive me for oversimplifying this, it's like a brownie recipe. A brownie recipe has a limited number of ingredients, and they're all the same. There's a million different brownie recipes out there, all deploying very similar ingredients, yet lots of brownies don't taste nearly as good as the best brownies. Why is that? Well, because it's a combination of art and science. It's a craft, but it's also a labor of love and passion. And that's kind of what we never lose sight of at SVS. So that brings us to this final phase. This final phase is probably the place where art begins to take over from science. There we are in a listening room, calibrated to resemble as much as possible the typical listening room in any room anywhere in the world. And we are measuring the speaker as it behaves in that real-world environment. But we're also listening to content that we're very familiar with. Once we've optimized it, or hopefully optimized it, then we're going to wheel that thing right back to the anechoic chamber and make sure that the speaker is still measuring well in a laboratory type of environment. So it's a very iterative process, because once you did that, once you optimize it again anechoically, you wheel it right back to that calibrated listening room, and you go back to listening and measuring in a real-world environment. It's an extremely painstaking process. When done correctly, it can take weeks, months, and sometimes even longer than months to do. But the end result is something that creates, well, magic. Magic is taking something that occurred live somewhere, whether it was a studio or a live concert or a movie set, and rendering it in your living room, your listening room, your home theater in a way that is believable and convincing and most importantly, emotionally connects you to that experience.